down the migrant crime. The UK bans the French Great Replacement philosopher Renaud Hamas from entering the country. You can't even talk about it, right? You can't even talk about it. And poor Canada, will end with this. Canada's immigration lawyers are overwhelmed with all this migration of transgender asylum seekers from the U.S. Little known fact, in the early days, a lot of people who wanted to get the transgender transition surgery went to Canada because if you could go to Canada and live there a certain percent of time, their National Health Service would pay for the surgery. So, little known fact, that's going back a long time. So, transgender people have a fond attachment to Canada generally. Alrighty, well, that is the end of my time here. It is time, I think we got Sunny Days. Oh, and I see SoCo out there too.
Hello.
Hi, Aaron.
Hello.
First it was the radical Islam, and now it's the furries running to Canada.
Exactly.
How did your pineapple upside down cake turn out?
Well, I don't know. My son made it, and I haven't heard any crying or bashing stuff around, so I'm thinking it went well, but this was all happening during my show. See, now I make my pineapple upside down cake the way my grandmother made it, and that's in cast iron skillet.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds crazy, but if you put your pineapples and butter and sugar down in that skillet and turn the heat on and get it all bubbly, and then put your pineapples and cherries in there, and then you pour your cake batter over that and stick it in the oven. When you flip it over, it is all crispy brown caramel goodness that you don't get out of a regular aluminum or glass baking pan.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Your grandma was smart.
Yeah,
Most
so
people
I
don't
used to bring
realize.
that sucker to like cakewalks and charity events and stuff, and it would be the highest bidder because it looks so caramely and yummy because it gets that like brown caramely look from the cast iron skillet.
Uh-huh. Cast iron is non-stick if it's seasoned properly.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Just don't use soap and water to wash them. Which
Yep.
sounds crazy to a lot of people, but you do not. It ruins them.
Well, we had a mystery here. I had my grandmother's cast iron skillet that she had, I guess, probably when she first got married in Kentucky, and it disappeared. I made a pineapple cake, and it was Christmas time, and as far as I know, we put it away. And for like 3 years, we could not find it. And I would actually wake up at night upset about it, because it's like sentimental attachment to that skillet. I just could not figure out what happened to it. And then here about a month ago, my mom got on the step ladder and got up in the back of her pantry, and for whatever reason that skillet was like sitting at the bottom of a stack of other pots and pans that we don't use, that were like way up on the top shelf that you have to get a little step ladder to get to. And there it was. I have no idea how it got up there, but I literally almost cried to see that skillet again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I have the same thing with my mother's stuff, my grandmother's stuff. Yeah. Like there's this one certain bowl that my mom and dad used to make cornbread, the mixed cornbread, the mix in before you put it in the cast iron. And so like I know it's a Pyrex bowl. It's got little like turquoise checkers around the top of it. It's old Pyrex, right? But I know exactly what bowl it is. I keep my eye on it. That my dad still uses it. So like that's to me is the stuff that I'll keep that matters, not the other. I don't really care about a lot of it. It's just those memory things. So I totally get what you're saying.
Absolutely. I mean, in the interim, we had a new skillet and it worked just fine, but it just didn't taste the same to me. Maybe it's the seasoning in the old one. The old ones are made better. They're not as rough Like the casting is better, and so I'm happy to have it back. I had like all these conspiracy theories that my ex-husband somehow still had a garage opener and came in and stole it because he liked the pineapple upside down cake so much, or I had no idea, like some weird thief came through and saw it and took it. I'm like, because I couldn't understand where it could be, or it got put in a box and went to Goodwill. I mean, I had all these conspiracy theories about it.
Yeah,
That's funny.
I'm gonna say it's one of the only things that you can save. It can be buried out in your backyard for 40 years, and with a good piece of steel wool and coarse salt, you can save them in baking soda. Scrub it really good, and then you just start all the way from the beginning, seasoning it with. That's the biggest pain in the ass, but I mean, it'll last you a lifetime.
Right. But, like I've had something like that happen before as far as like something disappearing and you just like cannot find it. And then when you find it, it's like, how did it get there?
Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes I think when you do stuff like you go into like especially cooking or in the kitchen when you're washing up or whatever, you get into kind of like a hypnotic state because it's like so routine and you do stupid things like, put stuff in the refrigerator or whatever. And you're like, why did I put this pen in the refrigerator? Like I do weird stuff like that. I'll just always put a pan in a certain place, and then for whatever reason, one day I'm like daydreaming and I just put it somewhere else, and then super annoying when I can't find it.
Mm.
Yeah, I got to make myself do that. I have a bowl I put my keys in, and I got to put my keys in there. Like that is got to be my habit. Otherwise, I will lose my keys. So,
And I don't know what's going on with this Easter around here, but I always make ham dinner for Easter. I don't know, my family. I do the whole turkey thing for Thanksgiving, which I love, but they just love my ham dinner. I don't even know why. I don't think it's special. But anyway, there weren't that many hams around this year. I found leg of lamb. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like gonna like there aren't that many Greeks or Orthodox around here. Why do you have the leg of lamb? I saw like all kinds of steaks, the crown, is it called a crown roast or whatever that is? Ribs, all this stuff. I'm like, where is the hams? There's no hams anywhere. I finally found one. Uh that's so weird. Like I always thought everyone eats ham. Is it just me?
no, I think ham's an Easter thing.
You think it's an
Mhm.
Easter thing?
Yeah, always.
Yeah,
I mean, it
I'm like,
always
what
was
is
for
where
us.
is it? I mean, you're normally, they have like a whole uh freezer or whatever that, there's like 20, 30, 40, 50 hams in there and different brands. I had to go to two or three stores. And this was like even earlier in the week. It's not like they sold out. They just didn't have them out.
Yeah, I go to a little tiny store, and I just remember over Christmas, the guy that owns the store said that they were selling out of hams like crazy. It's the first time they had to order like the third set of cases. And when I asked him what's a case, he said it's 50. I said, well, how many's in it? He said three per. And so like that's 150 hams times three. And we're talking a store like the size of like a gas station. Like the inside of Spring Street is like you walk through the doors, it'd be like walking into a gas station. It's that small. But everybody was coming for ham. So I can see if it's crazy this year. But yeah, maybe it's a ham thing. Maybe something happened to the pig farms.
I don't know, but I couldn't find the hams. I couldn't find even the empty freezer or cooler thing for the hams. So I had to go to a local grocery operation here called Reasoners, and they had at least like a thing where hams are, and there's probably 10 or 15 in there, and I got one. I don't like fricks that much, but that's what we got. So I'll soak it in water for a while to get the salt out of it, because that's why I don't like fricks. But anyway, it'll be fine. Everyone will be happy, but it's a weird thing. I'm like, aren't anyone like I don't know. It's just really weird. They didn't even put the thing out at Walmart or at any of the other. We have Winco. They didn't have a thing out of hams at Winco either. Just lots and lots of like steaks, roasts, I'm like, is this like a new thing now that ham is out for Easter? How weird.
I mean, you could always order you a Bill Gates ham, plant fibers and glue. Yeah. What is it? What is it called? Synthetic ham.
That sounds really gross.
Oh, I think that's what HelloFresh does. I don't think what they put in their boxes of prepared meals is meat. I think it's synthetic meat.
Well, one of those HelloFresh type places got busted for having like Chinese slaves in their operation,
Perfect.
like assembling those meals.
Yep. I don't doubt it for some reason. What do you think, Sonny?
I don't, I
Do you
know
want
that
to?
the food is poisoned, but I just, I hate talking, like what, I mean, like it just, I know it. I just don't even know what to say about it. Oh,
Well, are you going to have ham for Easter? Was my thought.
oh, you're okay. No, I'm actually not. No, I'm, nope. I'm filling in tomorrow. That'll be it. Yeah. Do y'all do? Everybody's having ham dinner. I'm not going anywhere.
Well, for a couple of years, like we didn't do Easter for some reason. I think it's because for years and years I worked Sunday morning in Chicago. I had to get up at like 5, be on the train by 6, be downtown at 7. And so Sunday things were hard for me. And for a while we kind of weren't even really we were doing Easter like for my son who was a little kid, but I wasn't really making a big dinner. So for a while I wasn't really doing the Easter dinner thing. And then once I stopped working Sunday morning, we got back to it. Now my son has to work tomorrow. But he'll be home, at 5:30, so we can have a late supper, but we'll be able to have supper.
Peaches says she's having breakfast for Easter dinner. That sounds pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Easter candy goes on sale 50% off Mondays at
Yeah.
Citywood.
Yeah, my son loved like the Easter eggs and Easter baskets and uh like egg hunt and all that. He loved that. We did that all the way until he was in high school.
Don says I buy my lamb in December/January at BJ's. It is from Australia. Well, there you go. Never thought of lamb. You don't really eat much lamb down here. Like you don't find it very often. We're mostly what you would think: cows, pigs, and chickens. There's
Yeah,
not a
we
lot
always
of.
had a ham dinner, you know.
Right, the Orthodox though. So when I worked in Greek restaurants for many, many, many years, um, so you would have the leg of lamb or lamb chops or whatever with the mint jelly, and then they had the challah bread, so it's like a sweet egg bread, and they'd braid it and they'd put an egg in the bread, and then when you broke the bread, whoever got the piece of bread with like they'd put a whole egg in there, like, and it would end up being like a hard boiled egg, right? Because it baked in the bread. That was like good luck to get the egg. And then they would always have they had like a lot of side dishes and all. And then they would have like bread pudding, the caramely yummy bread pudding. And so I would always sit with the family, the Greek family and all the Albanians in the kitchen and have Orthodox Easter is to them like they make a big deal about Easter, not so much Christmas. So this is like their big meal. And so I know something about it. I'm not a big lamb is very kind of gamey, even when you sort of disguise it with the mint jelly. And but it was pretty good. And so that's why you do see lamb, this time of year, because it goes to that. firstborn tradition of having lamb in the spring. And yeah, I missed the challah bread egg thing. That's cool. I think it's a cool thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, that dish hiding the egg, it's very Easter-like. One. Me eating a lamb, I don't know. Feels for Easter seems a little sacrilegious because it's like it's like Jesus was supposed to be the last sacrifice, and so sacrificing of the lambs, eating a lamb for Easter. But then that's just me, you know.
I don't think I've
I
ever had lamb.
I had in Detroit when I lived in Detroit and went to a fancy restaurant one time with Jeremy. I think he had lamb and I tried it, like like lamb chops or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got kind of a strong gamey taste and it can be kind of stringy, so it's hard to cook, I think. And
So
so lamb usually is in either you put some kind of relish on it like mint jello or mint jelly, or like I've had lamb where it's like stewed in kind of a very flavorful uh broth or gravy or whatever you want to call it, and it kind of covers up the gamey taste of the lamb. So like I've had it where they make a stew, and one of the things I like about like Greek and Albanians is they put usually like their gravy and stews. Strangely, they put like cinnamon in there where it's got kind of a earthy type taste, unlike the kind of gravy that we have here that's meaty tasting. It's got more of a, I don't know how to explain it. Um,
you lost me at stringy. The minute you said the word stringy, I was like, ooh, I'm out.
it is kind of tough or stringy. It's a lot of, you have to kind of stew it. But I love Greek food. It's one of the things I miss living here. Obviously in Chicago, I mean, at one point in time, you could literally say every family style restaurant was owned by a Greek. They're all friends with each other. And it's like if you went to one Greek restaurant, I can't remember, like cream of broccoli soup and whatever pistachio or whatever they served, it's like everyone had it. Because they're all like cousins and uncles and that, and they had a system, and one day you had like the uh chicken, lemon chicken. The next day you had chicken soup as the soup, where they would take the leftover lemon chicken and make it into the soup, which I love. Greek chicken soup, which generally is lemony. And they had like a system where every day you just did it over and over again, and it would use the leftovers to make the next day's soup or whatever. And they stuck with the system. And then you'd see strange things like trucks showing up with lots of butter, and then it said on the butter, USDA do not sell separately. And you're like, okay, where did this butter come from? A lot of interesting things happened, but they all knew each other. And it's like a part of Chicago that probably is gone now, but was just like something everybody knew and was used to. I mean, you could go get your Athenian chicken, your lemon chicken, these certain dishes on certain nights with certain soup, and it was a thing, and you didn't have to worry about it. It was just a thing, and now nothing's a thing anymore.
No, there was a really nice. I think it's called Fishbones is the name of it. But yeah, they did. It was a Greek restaurant. They did like a opa with the cheese, like that real way, like it's table side, set your hair on fire, whoosh, right in front of you. It was delicious. And I'll never make my chicken any other way than the Greek style. I learned how to do it, marinate the yogurt base, and it's just the best. I mean, you you have to you have to time the chicken because you'll think it's not cooked. It's so tender. If you let it marinate in yogurt, like a yogurt, turmeric, kicking chicken, I use all kinds of seasonings with the yogurt. But I sit it in a bag with that yogurt seasoning overnight, and it's nuts how much it maintains its It's just so moist.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I won't make my chicken any other way. If I, especially I put it on the grill, it's the best because it just stays so juicy, Sonny.
Juicy chicken.
We're making everybody in chat hungry. They're like, "Daggone, hallelujah! Bring me some of that lamb." I'm like, ugh, give me the cheese. And I've reversed my coffee like the past few days. I used to live off coffee with a sprinkle of water, and now I'm reversed it. I have like a cup of coffee and the rest of the day water. So crazy. Been adjusted to that, but that's what I'm doing. So that's my Easter thing.
Right. If you ever want to me, like the best food ever invented ever anywhere in the world is I guess you call it like Greek lasagna. I can't remember. It's called like pasticcio.
Are
But
you trying to say pistachio?
No,
Okay.
it's pasticcio.
Okay, because you said it a while ago, and I thought maybe it's a Southern thing. You know how we say carp?
No, it's like
or whatever.
It's like lasagna in that it's like a layered thing, but it's like the noodles are tube noodles, but they're really long, like a macaroni, but it's like a lasagna noodle that's rolled up. So they're long tubes, and you put those down, and then you put your seasoned beef, just like you layer it like a lasagna. But the sauce that they put on there is white cream sauce, made with like cream and cinnamon and I forget what else, but it's like a cream sauce, kind of like sometimes you can have spaghetti with that like cream sauce. It's kind of like that. And so they bake that up, and then the top of it's like it's kind of like Alfredo, I'll say. So instead of putting like spaghetti sauce on your lasagna, you would put Alfredo sauce. And then you bake it like a lasagna, and the meat inside of it has different flavors than you would expect. It's not that tomato-y taste. Um, and anyway, if you ever have the chance to have that at a Greek restaurant, I highly recommend it. It's probably like 1 billion calories, but it's like maybe a once in a lifetime thing, but I think it's like the most awesome thing ever made anywhere ever. And
I don't think
so
I've ever had that.
yeah, it's pastitsio. And if you like put that in and search, pictures come up, and maybe you've seen it before, but you'll see how good it is. Just the picture itself will make you want to have it. It's probably I've thought about making it at home, but it's like a process because you're making you have to make the meat, you have to cook the noodles, and then you have to make this cream sauce, and then you have to layer it. You know, it's like a big deal. It's not something you make in 10 minutes.
Raging, who did that? Raging Smirk just dropped this. I think this is what you're talking about. Is that it?
Yeah. Pasticcio. I forget how they said it.
Pasticcio recipe. Greek lasagna with bechamel.
Yeah, bechamel sauce.
Very fancy. That's what she's talking about.
So they would occasionally have that as a special at the restaurant. And I used to ask them when they're making it, because even if I wasn't working that day, I would go to work to have some. It wasn't like a regular thing they had all the time. It was a special occasion thing. And if I ever got wind that they were gonna make it, if I saw those noodles out in the kitchen, I'd be like, "When you making that? Because I'm gonna come in." It's very good.
There you go. Learn something new every day. Look at that. I thought that's when I first saw that picture. I thought, there ain't no damn way I'm going to lay them. Because I thought they were little, like elbow noodles.
No.
Oh, there ain't no way I'm laying them noodles one at a time so it looks all fancy smancy. My redneck self is going to sling them in the pot. But it's because they're long like that. So I get
Yeah, they're like
that.
Like a macaroni. Like they're about the size of an elbow macaroni or bigger. I've seen them bigger. More like la mastacholi. They're like, but they're big long
Mustachole.
tubes.
Yeah, that's what you see that picture.
So that's good eats. Probably 10,000 calories a slice.
That picture looks like it's 10. Yeah. Holy guacamole. Sonny, you
How
ready to
does
make
one
some spiccioli?
how does one talk Greek? That sounded kind of Italian.
I don't know, girl. Listen, I do good with English. Okay, so we're just throwing stuff around out here.
Oh.
Right?
Somebody says, "Good thing I'm not hungry." Sky breeze.
I know. All we've been talking about for food is for 25 minutes. So everybody out there's gonna be gnawing their leg off. That's
No, I'm a
hilarious.
leg off.
You know what I'm saying? We're starving. Ugh. Let's
So
see. I think
Ragdoll says it's Pustitio. That sounds about right. I forget how they said it. Everyone just
Stizio.
called it Greek lasagna, to be honest with you. Because it always say in parentheses Greek lasagna, and everyone in Chicago knew what it was. They didn't say the word, but it's kind of funny because so Greece, right across the way, is Albania, and they had a very similar relationship to, we'll say, America and Mexico. So the Greeks, they're like quote unquote illegal aliens, are Albanians, at least back in the day. So when they don't open a Greek restaurant, they would import magically some Albanians who worked in the kitchen, and their cultures were similar enough that they knew how to cook the food, even though Albania used to be a Greek Orthodox country, but they got under the caliphate, and Albania is one of the countries, I believe, where you had to convert or die, and so they converted to Islam. But a Albanian Muslim person, they don't eat pork and they follow like the basic stuff, but they're totally different than like a Middle Eastern Islam type person. And so they're like Muslim light, and they still like do stuff that's very uh Christian like or Orthodox Christian like, but they had to be Muslim or you die. So it's like this weird thing. And then you have still underground Christians who are now openly Christian, but it's like a communist, very sad country. Albania, I think's the poorest nation in Europe, probably still is. Still strife there, beautiful place, but people like John Belushi was Albanian. Many, 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 many Albanians were brought into Chicago by Greeks, and they worked in the Greek restaurants and all these businesses that the Greeks had. The Greeks were big in grocery stores, kind of like bartering or trading groceries and produce, and restaurants, and all of them had Albanian cooks. And tons of Albanians came in the 80s because there was like a coup and like a lot of strife going on, with the Balkans and all that. During the 90s with the Clintons, Albania was part of that. Now Albania split, and they're Albania, Macedonia, and Northern Macedonia, I even think. These are like not even on a map, but it's a thing. But they have a lot of pride because they associate themselves, actually, or a lot of them do, with Alexander the Great, who is Macedonian, and Albania is basically Macedonia. So it's like a whole thing, but they're basically Greeks in a sense. They were part of the Greek world back in the day. So it's an interesting thing. I was very tied for a long time to Greek and Albanian people for whatever reason. It's just a Chicago thing.
Well, that sounds good. That's pretty cool. I don't really know that many. There's one couple of Greek restaurants here. They're owned by brothers. They make the best pizza in town, and I don't know if there's any other even Greek families that live around here, but I know those two people are Greek, and I mean they're like off the boat Greek. Like the lady, the mother, the matriarch that runs the restaurant, she's still thick Greek accent. Like, you could tell English is her second language. Super sweet lady though. Super sweet lady. But yeah, but they make good a pizza. That sounded like an Italian, Sonny. Even for the
Good
Greeks.
Good pizza. Yeah, I don't
Greek,
know.
Albanian, Denmark. It's the pizza.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
true.
gonna go check and see what's going on in the kitchen.
Okay.
So,
I hope your pineapple cake turns out good.
yeah.
If there's not a
No,
fire, it's a success.
yeah, we'll see. Uh, normally my mom would be supervising or whatever. I want to check on her. She's under the weather, and I'm gonna chill out the rest of tonight because I think I've fended it off. But man, I woke up, my throat was on fire. And I went downstairs and she was just sick as a dog. I kind of don't mind. I'm feeling okay now, but I just took more vitamins. I'm like pumping every cold remedy I can think of because I really don't have time to get sick.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hope she gets better, Erin, if she feels better.
Well, I hope you ladies have a wonderful Easter and everyone out there. Of course, I'll be back tomorrow morning, so I'll be around for Easter for y'all.
That'll be awesome. Well, go take care of your mom. And
Yeah.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
All right.
all
Thanks,
right.
Erin.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right, SoCo.
It's all
So
you, sister. I'm just in the back seat of the boat.
you just was gonna say, so what do you got? What do you got for us?
I already told you that. I'm just here to be your cheerleader for this holiday weekend. It's all about you, Sonny.
I get my own cheerleader.
Exactly, you do. For free. Pro bono.
Oh, that's funny. Well, let's do a call out. You know how I am. I like to do a call out.
Oh,
You want to talk
okay.
to the folks in chat a little bit?
Oh, go for it. Yeah, listen, I'm told you. This is your show. I am
All
just here.
right. I did ask Steph to join us if she could. I think she had stuff to do, so she wasn't sure if she would or not, which I said no pressure, like just, wondering if you wanted some airtime. So I see Basubi. I think she was over there. She might have been gone now. Only Cuff, Just a Pug, are over in Vaughn, and there's like 39 lurkers over there. So hi Vaughn and hi Rumble. And let's see what chat's got going on. And I see Mrs. Texas Freedom Road out there, and Roddy is out there, Raging Smirk, Jammin' Mammy, and
Roddy.
Dynamax. Look at Dynamax. He put some weird like stuff in chat. Okay, is
She's
that
looking for me. Did I do that? Eluding the
is
ring.
that
I
the
don't know,
real
girl.
Dynamax?
Oh,
I'm wondering if
yeah,
that. Are you
I
sure? Because
think.
I've never seen him
Maybe.
put symbols in there before like that.
Well,
AOC's out there.
I don't see a bot paying for a sub though, but maybe I don't know. Hell, who knows? It's
You're
some
logical.
fancy schmancy. But
Huh.
AOC with the AOC.
The eyeball. Serpentina Nan is out there. The Landrys. Raging Smirk. Did I say that already?
Is that a Hitler cat? Who is that? Serpentine. It's a cat with a Hitler. No, oh, just the teeth. Okay, I was like, what is that picture?
Oh my, I'm
Some of the
so.
gifts crack me up, bro. I mean, I can't help it. I
Oh
want
my
some of
gosh,
them.
we talk about that one night. Toots talked about something about the squirrel, and oh my gosh, there were so many squirrel stickers. And one night we talked about Muppets, and there were Muppet stickers. Oh my gosh. And we were talking about old shows, and there were all kinds of old show stickers. Um, it's so funny. So cool. There's a
Mhm.
sticker for everything.
I like the Forrest Gump wave one too. I have it in my favorites for
Triple
sure. I haven't seen that Rocket Trump wave one in a while. That's pretty
Triple
cool.
T Anon is out there. He says he is risen. Jeff Whitcomb. Jeff Whitcomb, give us an update. Where are you? What are you doing? He was on the road traveling. Sky Breezy. Sky Breeze had a meeting today. Um, she went to. She said it went well. Light Switch is out there. Ellen 101. Did I say Bigley? Jammin' Mammy? Did I say Light Switch? I think I did. Charles Barrett. Good evening. Ed Jew Thump is out there. Who else? Nana Mar. All right, I'm going to jump down, see if anybody else is saying hi.
Yeah, Roddy, I don't know what you're talking about. If you look it up, I was accurate. I feel you, brother, but I don't know what you're talking about. But glad you was accurate, Roddy. Just make sure you stay okay and you won't have to be put on the chain, son. Throw you under the porch.
Hi, Citizen 1776. Okay, well, Jeff Whitcomb says Washington State for a while longer. Gotcha. Hi, Debbie. Hello. Oliver's out there. Oliver Twist and Smoke. Zed Saskatchewan and Sheila W207. Um, Big Lee says, haha, I started the Great Squirrel Fest on Thumper Show years ago. Red Squirrel Lives Matter. Funny. All right. Did you just cure? Hey, Zap, how are ya? I think Zap's over in Sweden.
Zap's competing with Dynamex for the coolest graphics made with symbols. Isn't that crazy? Look at
What does
that.
that
Made a whole
say?
little damn village. It's like a little village, little house.
Is that
Looks
what
like
it
there's
is?
a
A village?
cactus. Looks like there's a cactus and a flag and the fence and then another house. To me, that's what it looks like, anyways.
Zap, is that what it is? Real praying mattress. Church bells down the block. Carpathian Orthodox Church. Lovely. Ah. Hi, Christian Mom. Good evening. Zap says yes. You were right,
Mhm.
SoCo.
I blew it up. I looked at it. I was like, what is that?
Oh, you did? You
So,
blew it
yeah,
up?
I pinched it. I don't know if your laptop could do that, but I pinched it, made it bigger. I was like, that's what it looked like to me. The roof is a little, throws you off a little bit because it's just like colons, like it's for the roof. It's curvy a little bit, but I can see it. The door, the windows, the fence. It's like three cacti. Looks like a flag pole with the flag on it. There's like
Gotcha.
another pole. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. That's what it looked like to me.
All right. I'm gonna peek over in Vaughn again, just see if it's so tiny I can't read the Vaughn. If they're posting anything to us, I can't read it on the little side. I have to actually open Vaughn up to see.
On we cuff is the last one that's posted in my side. Now I have Vaughn popped out chat,
Oh, you
so
do? Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
try
Kind
to
of
pop
talking
it out.
amongst themselves, I think. Okay. All right. Okay, well, did I ask you that? Oh my gosh, I'm such a space tonight. Did you find that video you were going to look for earlier?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
you
I was
did.
just gonna ride with you, whatever you wanted to do. It was I think I told you, didn't it? It's like it's the entire life of Jesus on a map, but it's 18 and a half minutes, or 18, almost 19 minutes long, 1 second shy of 19 minutes.
Okay. Well, I have a video that's 11 minutes and 15. It's the shot heard around the world, the battles of Lexington and Concord, and the White House put it out.
Oh yeah, go for it. Like I told you. You need me to play anything? I have a bastion of stuff usually somewhere, but
Okay.
I'm following your lead. I am just here at your service, Sonny. Think of me as Opa breaking the glass on me. That's me. Jerk my chain. Opa, I'm right over here. Okay.
So cool. Oh my gosh. All right. Oh. All right, we're gonna play this video by the White House.
Whoop whoop.
Here it is. Well, I hope I did I oh gosh, I think I did the boxes. Let me check.
It's all right. You can make rookie mistakes on Easter weekend. We forgive you.
Because I'm a rookie.
Yeah, that's
I get
right.
to be
Yeah.
rookie after all this time.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Oh, I'm starting it over because of the sound.
Good grief, strike two!
She's out! Kicker!
Hello, my name is Wilfred McClay, and I teach history at Hillsdale College. My assignment today is to relate the story of how the American Revolution began with the dramatic clashes between British regular troops and American militiamen in the New England towns of Lexington and Concord on April 19th, 1775, 250 years ago today. The fuse of war was lit at last when orders from Britain reached the royal governor of Massachusetts, General Thomas Gage, instructing him to move aggressively to stop the growing rebellion. After careful deliberation, Gage decided he would march 700 red-coated British troops to Concord, a town about 20 miles west of Boston, where they would seize a militia supply depot that had been established by the Patriot forces. The fact that such a depot had already been created is an indication of the extent to which the Patriot side of this conflict had organized and was preparing for conflict. They were not an unorganized rabble. Far from it. They knew that Gage was contemplating some sort of move, although they didn't know where or when exactly it would come until the operation was underway. And they knew it was important to wait and make sure that the British fired the first shots so that the Patriots would be able to claim the high moral ground. Samuel Adams put it this way back in March of 1775. Put your enemy in the wrong and keep him so. This is a wise maxim in politics as well as in war, as indeed it was. The success of Gage's operations depended on secrecy, surprise, and sound intelligence. So thus the words of historian David Hackett Fisher. Gage would have to strike at the heart of the rebel movement and cripple it with quick, clean blows, preferably with as little bloodshed as possible. But it didn't quite work out that way. It was a disaster instead for the British. In many ways, the outcome of Lexington and Concord provided the Patriots with a great public relations victory, putting the enemy firmly in the wrong and keeping him there. Along the road to Concord was the town of Lexington, which was not an objective of Gage's troops. And yet, when the British arrived there at dawn, they encountered a group of 70 or so Minutemen gathered in the mist on the town common. The men were there because they'd been warned by means of the famous midnight ride of Paul Revere, who was one of maybe as many as 60 messengers whom he'd helped organize, tasked to inform the scattered militias in the area that the British regulars were coming from Boston, had crossed the Charles River at Cambridge, and were now heading west to Concord. They came to Lexington upon an awkward confrontation. After some taunting shouts and argument coming from both sides, the Patriot militiamen appeared to be beginning to withdraw, and then a shot was fired. No one knows by whom, which led to the British opening fire on the assembled Patriots, killing 8 of them. It was more of a skirmish than a full-throated battle, but blood was shed on both sides and deaths on the Patriot side. News spread quickly throughout the countryside of what was already being called the massacre at Lexington. Then the British went on to Concord, where they encountered half-empty storehouses, as the Patriots' excellent advance intelligence had indicated a move against Concord was coming, and they cleared out most of their arms and armaments and ammunition and burned the rest. The regulars encountered stiff resistance from the gathered militia troops as they poured in from the countryside and fought bravely and shrewdly against the rather mechanical British. The British lost 14 men in a fight at the Concord North Bridge, which the terrified regulars turned tail and ran for their lives, breaking discipline, disobeying their officers, and abandoning the wounded. A disgraceful display. The British began to retreat to Boston and would face deadly fire all along the route. Bloody sniper fire. They were outnumbered, outmaneuvered at every turn. In the end, they limped back to Boston, having lost 3 times as many men as the Americans. And so the war had begun. And now a few words about historical memory, because that, after all, is why we're here, to remember and to gain the value of remembering our own past. Why is it so important to do that? Much of what we remember Lexington and Concord for today flows from a single poem written in 1860 by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. The poem is called Paul Revere's Ride. It used to be memorized by every school-aged child in America. It opens like this. Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. On the 18th of April in 75, hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year. It's really such an infectious poem. You catch it has the rhythm it has is a rhythm of drum taps. Listen, my children, and you shall hear the midnight ride of Paul Revere. But why did Longfellow address the poem to children? Surely children were not the only audience he had in mind, maybe not even the primary audience he had in mind. No, but he's indicating something. He's indicating that his poem is primarily meant as an expression of a precious memory, a memory of something that needs to be preserved, needs to be passed along to successive generations, lest it be lost. The memory, in this case, of Paul Revere and his heroic deeds. To be sure, the poem does not provide a fully accurate rendering of the events that took place in those days. For that, I recommend you turn to David Hackett Fisher or other historians who have covered that territory. But the poem does something different. It conveys the essential spiritual meaning of the events, the legacy they had left with us, a meaning that we can and should and must make our own. And it conveyed that meaning at a crucial moment in American history. The poem was composed in 1860, on the cusp of our greatest national crisis and trial, the American Civil War. We were being called to look back by Longfellow, just as Abraham Lincoln urged Americans to heed the mystic chords of memory when he's inaugurated as president, and to remember the spirit of '76 and their heroic forebears. So Longfellow reminded them of a hero of Lexington and Concord, on the very moment when the nation was entering the great trial, the great crisis of revolution. The poem concludes, too, with a haunting prediction that speaks to our moment as well. And let me close with that. For born on the night wind of the past, through all our history to the last, in the hour of darkness and peril and need, the people will waken and listen to hear the hurrying hoofbeats of that steed and the midnight message of Paul Revere. If Longfellow's right, the deeds of Lexington and Concord exemplified enduring qualities of the character of the American people that will continue to manifest themselves if we have the willingness to call on those memories, the capacity to respond to darkness with light, to peril with energy and determination, buoyed by the knowledge that others have done these things before us, and in a sense, for us. What was done before can be done again. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to play this one quick.
Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. On the 18th of April in 75, hardly a man is now alive. He said to his friend, if the British march by land or sea from the town tonight, hang a lantern aloft in the belfry arch of the North Church Tower as a signal light. One if by land and two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be. So through the night rode Paul Revere, and so through the night went his cry of alarm to every Middlesex village and farm, a cry of defiance and not to fear, a voice in the darkness, a knock at the door, and a word that shall echo forevermore. For born on the night wind of the past, through all our history to the last, in the hour of darkness, in peril and need, the people will waken and listen to hear the horrifying hoofbeats of that steed and the midnight message of Paul Revere. Listen, my
Or maybe not. I'm still hearing. Oh. Oh, I can't.
I'm
hear you.
muted.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I was like, maybe it's me. How many people, Sonny, under the age of 30, do you think know the story of Paul Revere, but who don't know the story of Paul Revere, but could tell you the lyrics to the "Not Like Us" Kendrick's Lamar song?
I have no idea.
I
How many
bet
do
you
you
it's
think?
very far tipped into Kendrick Lamar's favor.
Kendrick Lamar.
You know, he performed during the Super Bowl halftime show. Him and Drake are in this beef. He calls Drake a pedophile, which is probably right.
Oh,
It's this whole thing been going on for about the last year. But that's my point is, like, most people can tell you all the Kardashians' first names, but can't tell you, story of George Washington. You know what I'm saying?
right. I do remember there was a Q post with those two candles in the window. I did remember something about that, or lanterns or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that breaks to the core of what you just showed of kind of what's happening to America. Like, that you have to have that culture, that history that you're proud of, and the stories that make you feel like you're a part of something. And they've just, slowly kind of removed it from the education system. So people don't really, you should have pride in your country. And we've been through a lot as a young little thing, 250 years old. But they don't teach it in schools anymore.
Right. Okay, so let's see. I pulled up Dan Scavino's page because I was just curious what.
Landry said, I sleep with PSB on, gaining knowledge in my sleep. You go. That's right.
Funny.
Put that on a t-shirt.
So, is Suno AI? I wonder if Suno is AI.
You can usually tell when it
Does-
gets to the lyrics part.
Okay,
but
I'll play it and let's see if.
1775, neath the
Yeah.
moonlit.
You think it is AI?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
think it's safe to play it?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Sonny, we have broke copyright so much on this channel. Who the hell no? You know, it's Easter. Go for it.
Sky. All Revere roared forth with a Patriots cry. Through the darkened trails with a heart so bold, he warned of the redcoats, a tale to be told.
Yeah!
Two lanterns aglow in the church's high tower.
Opa!
Send
break it up.
The march of our heroes' power. With Dawes and Prescott through night's cold embrace, they roused the brave souls of a fledgling race. At Lexington's dawn, the Minutemen stood, their muskets held high for their homes and their blood. On Concord's North Bridge, they turned back the foe. The shot heard round the world, where our dreams learned to grow. From the ashes of battle, a nation was born. Through sacrifice, courage, and oaths proudly sworn. Those heroes of old, with their hearts full of might, gave breath to the stars and the stripes shining bright. Oh, sing of the ride of the fire in their souls. For liberty's dawn, where freedom arose. 250 years we stand tall and free, honoring Trump, who loves our country. With pride in his heart, he lifts up our past, a patriot's vow to make freedom last. From Lexington's green to Concord's old bridge, America's spirit will never grow dim. Now in 2025, we gather once more to mark the old past where our forefathers swore. The lanterns still burn in the hearts of the brave. Their legacy lives in the land that they gave. Our leader with fervor proclaims to the world, the flag of the free shall remain ever furled. Trump's voice rings out with a patriot's call to honor the heroes who gave us all. From Boston's old streets to the fields of the free, we trace the old roads of our proud history. The spirit of Revere and the Minutemen stand still guides us today in this bountiful land. With trumpets and banners we celebrate now the courage of them and the strength of our vow. For Trump, with his love for the red, white, and blue, renews the old flame that our forefathers knew. So raise up your voices, let anthems resound for the land of the brave, where true heroes are found. On this anniversary, 250 years strong, we'll carry the torch of their fight ever on. Welcome to the second American Battle
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, reading that post, like you have that post up there, I feel like an idiot because, you know, Breaking always called his show the Midnight Riders. And like
Yeah.
it makes sense to me now. I don't know why it never clicked until just now. I was like, oh, that's what he means, because he always has these messages in his, like, you know, like Breaking Spectre, and he has the octopus on the forehead from the 007, and he has the 1984 face with the Matrix stuff. So it's all, you know, a message. And so I just sat for, I was like, oh, that's why he calls himself the Midnight Riders. Such an idiot. Anyway. All right, makes sense coming from him, but you know, that's just funny.
These are old posts from Scavino. He hasn't been posting today. This is pretty though. Sherry Blossoms in Washington, D.C. that's nice. Let's see. He hasn't really posted anything other than this. He posted the other day, I love chess.
Who posted that?
Scavino?
I don't know, 40
Dan
chess.
Scavino? I think it's the real
Isn't
account.
that scroll up a little bit? That's the president of El Salvador, right?
I think so.
Yeah, playing chess. They're playing for yeah.
Hmm.
You know, because
Alright.
they're all trying to call that dude the Maryland father. You know, beat the crap out of his wife and was an MS-13 gang member. Sometimes don't you feel like it's like they're intentionally trying to make themselves look stupid? Like the left couldn't think of a more dumb person to prop up and be like, he's our hero. Who? MS-13 gang member? You know, it's like, okay, you do
Yeah,
you.
it's so bizarre.
Weird.
It is very weird that they're trying to sell that guy and to everybody. Ugh.
Those are pretty
This is,
pictures.
yeah, it's snowy spring in Boulder, Colorado, as seen in these images shot on Saturday by Fox weather correspondent one Brandy Campbell. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty. Oh, I gotta like. We're gonna look at pretty stuff, folks. It's Saturday night, Easter weekend on the Soapbox. Ooh,
Girl, you do what you want to do. I got you. You want pretty winter
ooh.
pictures? Oh, that's
It's
good.
pretty, but it can go away now. I wish I could click it away. Okay, let's see. I did have some stuff. This is a pretty picture. This person says, OMG, I finally did it after months and months of trying. I finally got the shot I've always wanted. Bluebells in the morning mist. I really hope you like it. It's pretty. Ever kind of get lost in a picture like that? Mm.
Yeah, I used to love to draw when I was younger. I still can do it. I just don't take time. But I love drawing. You know, so that's what I like to draw, like outdoor scenery stuff like
I
that.
should draw again. I used to draw a lot.
That's what's very calming to me.
I used to
Sitting
draw
down with a
horses.
sketch pad and charcoal. Yeah,
Hmm.
that
Hi,
was funny because
J-Lac.
that's
Oh, go
one of
ahead.
my first pictures. I drew a unicorn.
Oh.
It looked like a bloated unicorn, but it's pretty good for like a fourth grader. You know what I mean? Looks like it ain't a little too much hay, but that's okay. I was only like 9.
Good Vibes is out there. Hello, and Oliver 2452, Ellen 101, and who else? For True Freedom USA and AZ Patriot are out there. Hello. If I missed
Oh,
anybody, hello.
Henry says I can't draw or dance or sing or play sports. I'm
Uh-oh.
with you. I could draw a little bit, but I ain't doing. Oh, I guess I used to cut down on the dance floor when I was young. But
Yeah, I do all those things anyway.
what's the
Whether it
water?
looks good or not, I still dance, sing, and play sports. Well, I don't know if I play sports. I dance and sing.
Well, I found my first husband on the dance floor. I should have been sitting my ass on a bench.
So-
You know what I mean? That's the truth. It's the truth.
Well, I'm not good at any of those things, but I still do them anyway. Oh, that's funny. So this is Nancy Mace put this out.
I do them every year.
Every year.
You want to keep going?
Do any more this
Do you want
year?
to keep going and keep harassing me?
I'm asking if
You
you're
could have
doing
gone to
more
a
town halls
dozen
this year.
town halls last
I
year.
asked if you're doing any more this year. It was one simple question.
Yeah.
Are you doing a town
I've
hall
already
this year?
done one. I'll do
Are
plenty
you doing
more.
any more this year? It was a simple question.
You're always invited.
Okay, sweet. Well,
And by the way, I voted for gay marriage twice.
What does that have to do with
So
me?
I'm just saying, it has everything to do with you.
You think everything about me has to do with gay marriage?
I do,
That's your
absolutely.
first stance when you
Yep.
speak with me?
Absolutely.
There's no other humane
If you want to get in my
conversation you
face
can have
about town
me.
halls. You should have shown up
There's
to
no
one
other
last
humane
year.
thing you can talk about me just saying, oh, I support gay marriage.
Yeah,
That's the
because
only
you're
thing
getting
you
in
have
my
to
face
say.
about a town hall. You
Oh,
could have
just
gone
asking one
last year.
simple question from right
Would you
over
like
here
me?
is if you have any plans to have more town halls this year.
I have town
That was
halls
one
every year.
question.
I have over a dozen
Okay.
every year.
Great. That was my entire question. You didn't have to go
Yeah.
into this spiel at all.
You could have come to any of them last year.
Okay. And I'm
I had
asking
over a
about this year, not
dozen.
2024. But
Where were you the year
right?
before that?
Okay.
Or the year before that?
It was a simple
Oh,
question. I
because
asked
you know
if
what?
have
Because you
any point that
people
you're
on the
going to
left
this year
are
or not.
crazy.
So I'm
You're
on the left.
absolutely fucking crazy.
I'm absolutely fucking crazy.
You are. And get out of my face.
You're insane.
Goodbye.
You're insane.
Fuck you.
You're gonna fuck me. You're
Yep.
gonna be.
Sorry about the language.
I always want to see. I always
I'm not.
want to
Go
see
ahead.
the beginning of those. You know, I don't. I'm very hesitant to talk about stuff because, like, I don't know. People are so quick to want to click like video things at a certain spot and then post them, and then I don't know. I don't know. Like if you saw your delegate in a store somewhere and you was like, oh, maybe I could see if they're going to have more meetings, and then she acted like an asshole. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or it could be he walked up to her and be like, what you think you're doing, not having a meeting for me? But you don't ever really know how that stuff starts when you get, 3 minutes in to the confrontation.
Right.
And Alan is walking like an Egyptian, just so you know, Sonny. Walk like an Egyptian.
Dun 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 dun. Okay, this is 7 minutes long, and I actually haven't previewed it, but the disrespected
Perfect. I'm sure
truckers.
nothing could go wrong. Play it, Sonny. Go for it, girl.
Just kind of like that previous one. We'll see.
Hey guys, so I have another story for you. This is an older story. I've shared it before. I'm going to condense it down to one video. This is probably without question the spookiest call I've ever been on in my law enforcement
Spookiest call. Do we want to continue?
Go for it. It's not Halloween, but hey, go for it.
Spooky call.
career, and I hope it never gets topped. But anyhow, it was several years ago. I was on the overnight shift. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. It was around Halloween time, so it's already got that spooky season feel.
There we go.
This elderly gentleman who lived out in the country, he drove to town for whatever reason and went to this 24/7 gas station, asked the clerk if he could use the phone to call 911. The clerk, of course, said yes. He calls 911 and tells dispatch something along the lines of, like, my wife's missing or she's been kidnapped or something, yada, yada, yada. And to have the officer meet me at our residence. So I go to the residence, and as I pull up and I get out, I don't see any red flags, if you will. Normally in a situation like this,
You think their cortisol has to be going like all the time? You know, like not knowing what they're going to walk into, you know?
Well, most people don't realize, I was a 911 dispatcher. Most people don't realize 911 dispatchers can go through it too. Like, I can't tell you how many times I would be sitting up at the comm center reading the newspaper. We had a little TV there, and you're just all lean back, and it's all quiet on a Thursday at 2 in the morning. And all of a sudden, your 911 phones ring. It like makes your heart leap out your chest, because it's, you know what I mean? You'd be saving a life. You're just like, whoa, what's wrong? Same thing with cops. Most people don't realize just most calls they go on, they have no clue what's happening. So you could have a neighbor call in and say they heard something in the neighbor's house, and it could be crazy people, that's broke into the neighbors. It could just be, a little domestic fight. Nobody's getting hurt, or it could be an all-out brawl. They just don't know for sure. Nerve-wracking.
you would see or hear some commotion. You would have something standing out to you. I'm not getting that. It looks very calm, very quaint. I don't know what I'm really walking into at this point. I have terrible officer awareness. I walk up the driveway and I pass his truck, and he hops out of the truck behind me, and as I turn around, he's got a handgun. And he's extremely agitated and upset and emotional at the fact that his wife is missing or kidnapped or whatever it was. So after a few minutes of coaxing the handgun from him and make it safe, I put it on the hood of his truck. I'm like, okay, talk to me, what's going on? And he says, okay, follow me to the house. So I follow him to the house. And
Okay. Chat's asking you, full moon influence, yes or no, SoCo? And
Yeah, it would get weird, you know, like the comm center I worked at, we did that. They always put us on these rotating shifts. So you do like 2 months first shift, 2 months second shift, 2 months third shift. So every 8 weeks you rotate to a different shift. And so when you were on the night shift, it was like a double-edged sword because I live in a small town, so most of the time it's quiet. So if that phone rings, usually it's something tragic. Like I worked, this is 20 something years ago, okay, but I worked like I was on the shift where a Greyhound bus on 24 had a guy on the bus with a box cutter. This is not long after 9/11. And so everybody was thinking it was another terrorist event or something like that. And I remember I was still almost in training, and it was crazy. It was nuts. Like we were scrambling. So yeah, I think that is the biggest thing. Like here, we don't have a lot of, 1052s, like people hurting another person, like, to their death, right? We don't have a lot of murders in this town at all. And so if you get a call early in the morning, it was a bar fight or somebody trying to get kicked out of a bar or a drunk driver. So those calls that you got where it was a lot more tragic than, it always made you sit up.
Did you ever notice like full moons caused more problems? Or did you not really pay attention to the full moon?
I don't think I really ever paid attention.
Okay.
I mean, I was like, in my early 20s. So
Okay.
it was the only job I was ever fired from because I was late 3 times within a year. Like now, you could have an OnlyFans account working at comm center, but 25 years ago, they took it very serious. So I was late. I was at my 11th month in, and I was late for the 3rd time. And I don't mean like by hours. I mean, like if you 5 minutes late, I got called into Stephen DeFord's office, and he was like, this Laura, this isn't flipping burgers. This isn't, answering, at a call center. He said, when we answer phone calls, we save lives. So we have to be here. And I was like, I get it. So it's the only job I ever was like let go from.
Okay.
Because I was late.
He says, and I will never forget this, he says, do you believe in God? And I said, yes, I do. And he says, good. And that means you believe in the devil. And I'm like, what? So he opens the door. He says, forgive me for all the candles. He says, that's the only way we can keep it out or something like that. And there's no candles, but yet he's tiptoeing through the living room like he doesn't want to step over these mysterious candles. There's no candles. So as I'm walking in the living room and all the furniture's gone, it's just an empty room. Like I don't know if they're moving or they just moved in. It's just completely bare and empty. Although at every window around the home, I see a rifle or a shotgun. And I see spent shell casings and bullet casings. And I'm like, hey, bro, what's up with this? And he said, oh, I've been shooting out at these demons outside all night, trying to keep them out from coming in the house. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, well, we're not going to have that right now. So he lets me make all of his firearms safe and talking to him, trying to figure out where his wife may be. And then we're in this cabin-esque home, and there's a loft, and I see above us his elderly wife comes to the edge of the loft, and she's wearing this white, like, robe, like something Ebenezer Scrooge would wear. A little creepy looking, and she's just standing there staring down at us. And I'm like, all right, she seems sensible. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to talk to her because obviously he's the issue, and we need to get him some mental health treatment. So I'm like, hey, I found her. And he's like, oh, that's great news. That's great news. He's all excited. He's calmed down now. He's like, she's safe. She's sound. Good to go. So I'm like, we should be in and out in 5 minutes. So as I walk up the steps, I go up there and I talk to her and I'm like, hey, ma'am, your husband's having some mental health issues. And she's like, I know. And she's like, I don't know what to do with him. I'm like, I get it. Boys will be boys, but I'm going to have to take him to the hospital. And I'm like, I'm going to probably need you to help me out and, convince him to go with me. And I think we're on the same page, and all of a sudden she says, am I in trouble? And I'm like, no. Why would you be in trouble? And she's like, well, I'm curious. And I'm like, well, he's not in any trouble either. But why did you say, are you in trouble? Like, there's something not right about how she said it. And she said, well, because I fed it. I'm like, fed what? She's like, I was feeding the devil babies. And I'm like, what? Like, I get it. He's having a mental health issue, but it's very rare, if not impossible, in my opinion, to have two people having both the same mental health issues.
Carbon monoxide poisoning.
I'm like, run that back again. And she...
Ooh, so cool.
Then like I said, unless you got carbon monoxide poisoning.
She
right?
said, I stole babies, and the only way I could keep the devil happy and away from us, because he broke into the home, was to throw them over the loft, because I'm only safe when I'm up here, elevated, and the devil's down there. I throw the babies over the loft or the balcony, and the devil feeds them. Or I feed the devil. But the problem is he won't leave me alone now. He's attached to me, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Actually, I'm going to go back down and talk to your husband. He's the more sensible one. I'm like,
Call for backup. Call for backup.
So I go down the steps. I talk to the husband. I'm like, bro, both you and your wife are going to have to take a trip with me to the hospital. And he is now freaking out. He's trying to run outside. I don't know why. I'm trying to wheel him in. I'm like, dude, I don't want you to go out there. It's pitch black. It's the middle of the night. Like, what is it out there that you need to do? And he's like, I need to get the devil away. I need to get the devil away from my house. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, the devil is throwing the babies into the fire. And I'm like, what? And he said the demons are dancing around the fire, and the devil is in the middle, and he's throwing the babies in the fire, and it's making the fire bigger, and I have to go put out the fire. And I'm like, bro, come back to reality. There is nothing out there. I am looking, and it is pitch black out there. And he's like, oh, you messed up. He's like, you just pissed them off. They're all looking at you now. And he's like, oh, they're running over here. They're running over here. And I'm like, well, shut the shades. Like, I shut the shades, and I'm like, now I'm wigging out. And I'm like, all right, look, we need to come back to reality. Luckily at that time, another deputy shows up. The ambulance shows up. We both convince them to go to the hospital and get some mental health treatment. They do the same thing at the hospital. The doctor's like, I'm going to send them away, and hopefully we can get this fixed. They went away for a few days. They came back, and I never dealt with them again. I never had to go to the house again. Sadly, I did hear that the elderly lady later passed on a few years later. But to this day, I've never had a call where both people were suffering from the same delusion. And in my opinion, there was something extra sinister involved there that's beyond what medicine or therapy could solve, if you will. But I want to know your thoughts. Tell me what you think. Thanks, guys. Bye.
That would have been interesting to see what the TikTok responses were, because he didn't get a lot of responses on here.
What do you think?
I don't know.
Well, I do think that there's a fight between good and evil. I believe in the spiritual realm that we can't see with our own human eyes. And I believe that, like, possession and stuff like that is kind of like mocked and laughed at, but I think it's a very real thing, you know?
Yeah, I was just going to look to see. Someone said carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah, I said that earlier.
Do you hallucinate when that happens?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You have some, you definitely do. But again, it's crazy for me because you hear enough about the stories, the reality of like demonic realm, and people have mocked it and ridiculed it for so long. The minute you start talking about it, people think you've lost your mind instead of taking you seriously. But that's what propaganda is. You gotta, defend the devil while you step on Christians' throats, that kind of thing. Notice the only religion it's acceptable to mock and make fun of is Christianity. You say something about Islam or Judaism, and it's like, you're immediately labeled anti-Semite or Islamophobe. But what do people mock Christianity all the time? So that's that constant boot on the throat of the one true religion that, that preaches love and forgiveness and redemption and self-sacrifice. Makes sense. The devil's working hard, girl. The devil's working hard.
This is much lighter.
I'm surprised we got into no devil story. I was like, woo, it's a little spicy over there, Sonny. I don't know if I kind of understand now, Sonny, a little spicy.
So cool.
We just leave that there.
Oh my goodness. What was that about?
The Paul Revere thing, right? With the two lights in the window? Is that what it was trying to symbolize?
I guess U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
I don't know. It seems like a lot of Paul Revere stuff's coming out of the White House right now. What do you think that's meaning?
Well, it was the 250th anniversary yesterday, I think, or today.
Oh, there
Today.
you go. That
Dynamax
makes
knows.
sense.
I don't know.
There you go.
Dynamax knows. I think it's today.
This day in Army history, April 19th, 1775. The battles of Lexington and Concord took
Even the
place.
Army put
A
something
brigade of British soldiers marched to Concord,
Yeah.
Massachusetts to search for weapons and ammunition. They encountered 80 American militia on the Lexington Village Green. A shot was fired, and the British attacked, killing 8 and wounding 10 Americans. The Redcoats resumed marching to
The
Concord.
Redcoats are coming.
And stood by. A detachment of Redcoats arrived at the Old North Bridge to search Barrett's farm. When the militia believed the enemy was burning Concord, they advanced towards the bridge. The British opened fire on the militiamen, whose return volley killed 3 and wounded 13 British soldiers. The British retreated back to Lexington, then to Boston in a running fight. At the end of the day, the Revolutionary War had begun. For more information about the Army's proud history, go to history.army.
You see what's happening, though. It's funny that I said that earlier, and I didn't know this stuff was going on. You see what the Trump administration's doing. It's how many presidents before, and this might have happened, chat, y'all tell me. But I haven't noticed it if it has, but it seems like they're really trying to make people remember the history of our country. And the amazing things that America has achieved and the things that we've done to fight for our freedom.
Well, some people were saying the revolution started today or something like that. I don't know if that means something else.
Well,
Dynamax. I have no idea what you're talking about, Dynamax. So 250 years ago on April 19th, 1775, the shot heard around the world echoed at Lexington and Concord, igniting the American Revolution. Wonder where that is. This was Amuse put this out. Drive-by media, Prime Minister Georgia. Do you know how to Maloney, I think it is, wears her frustration on her sleeve every time the drive-by media asks yet another stupid question. And then Trump is assembling a formidable coalition of Western leaders aligned with mega vision, strengthening a unified front for global change. Annoyed, the drive-by media is the worst.
Prime Minister Moroni said is that no, actually, we didn't talk about the raise in military spending. Of course, Italy will keep its commitments with 2%, and then we will see, because we are absolutely aware of the fact that it is very important to
well, I will do
defense
that.
Is very
Wait.
Prime Minister.
I don't know. Ricky Gervais put this out. If facts hurt your feelings, you need new feelings, not facts. I don't know what that is. I don't know why it came up on my feed. I never look up anything really on him. This is kind of cool. I'll have a timeline cleanse after that Leo story.
Center of Dublin. Streets of Dublin. More than preach, come on.
He is the head of the body of the church. He is the beginning and the firstborn.
I wonder if that happened recently. Do you ever hear from Gran Torino?
Yeah, I messaged him the other day because Conor McGregor did that interview with Tucker, and so it makes sense that But he said, what did he say? He said Did I ask me if I'd saw the symbolism? And I was like, gee, what's the worst? Because I said he was on there. Connor's kicking butt on Tucker. Do you think he could win the presidency in Ireland? He said, did you see where they did the interview? Were you paying attention to the symbology? He probably will win if you get me. And then I said, I was still watching it when I was messaging him. And he said, Molesworth Street, second oldest lodge in the world. And I was like, well, I did see that the black and white, if you see the Tucker and Conor McGregor interview, they was on that black and white checkered floor. And it did look very lodgy. Yeah, it did look very lodgy. And I told you what I told him. I said, oh, I did notice the white and black checkered floor, and it looked very lodge-like when I saw the space they were in. I will tell you, though, right now, I would take the freaking Masons over the Sharia law if it means an end for now, going over in Ireland, because they've just, yeah. So, yeah, he said he thinks he could win the presidency if, he got in, because Connor did that whole thing with Tucker. And, Irish Catholics is a thing. And look at Irish, are Celtic people. They've never invaded anybody. The Irish has been put through the ringer, by the Romans. And, look, they were put on slave ships. That's how my family got here. A lot of people don't realize that's why so many people in the South are like what I am, which is a mix between Native American and Irish, is because that's what was down in the South, That's where clogging came from. If you look at clogging, that's like river dance or like the fiddle, stuff like that. So, yeah. Connor seems to be putting his money where his mouth is. He's got several employees, several businesses in Ireland. And then there was this one famous video that went around last year where there was a street person doing interviews, asking the Irish people in this one Irish town. I don't know. It might have been Dublin. It was some town in Ireland. Maybe you out there in chat remember. But they were walking around asking, what's the number one, name right now in this city in Ireland? And people were going like Patrick, stuff like that. And they were like, no, it's Muhammad.
Oh.
Yeah. Because they brought in so many, asylum seekers, quote, refugees. And then actually, it might start, but he was talking about these iPass centers in Ireland, where they put, tweeted it out, let's see, where they talked about there are these places where Ireland pays for these refugees to, you got to be careful because, see, I'm trying to do it now with my language. These fake ass asylum seekers where they're paid for, these refugee centers, and the people of Ireland have to pay for them, pay the taxes to fund them. So these refugees don't pay any rent. Conor McGregor even went on to say that even if like one of these people's cars breaks down, that the Ireland will pay to fix their car, and these people aren't even Irish citizens. So I Googled these iPass centers, and this is what it brought up for me. This is how bad it is in Ireland. Because Ireland's a small little island. Not big. That's Ireland's iPass centers in Ireland. See all that blue? That's crazy.
I'm glad we went to Ireland when we did. Ireland.
But I would tell you, I did find, like, while I was Google mapping it, because me and my sister have talked about it before, I did find this quaint little Channel View B&B in Baltimore, West Cork. And it seems like that's the house, a little Airbnb, like a bread and breakfast you stay in. I'm going to send it to my sister. But like out there, it's real pretty, and it seems like it's far enough away, still mostly Irish, folks out there. It's not, so anyway, if anybody's, it's really cute little house. But there you go.
I feel like we went to West Cork, but I'm not sure. I think we went to Cork.
It's down there. It's like, I have the map pulled up too. It's down there in, because he was talking about all these places, and I was pulling them all up on the map, like Cara. He said there's a place in Ireland called Wexford that a lot of people will talk about they're from, but he said that Wexford is not the same. It's, it's been kind of taken over by the people they brought in. And so, yeah, it's pretty rough. And then they're losing their culture. But you notice, and it is true, it does seem like it's all these Western countries that are, ridiculed and demeaned for not taking in all these illegals and stuff. But like, look at like what happened in Gaza. How many Muslim majority countries took in those Palestinians? Did Saudi Arabia take in any? Did Jordan? You know what I mean? And it's like, people need to stop and think about that stuff. Like I can only give you an anecdotal thing. What happened in Shelbyville when they dumped 1,000 Syrians in Shelbyville in 2014? It shook that little town. And Shelbyville is the home of the Tennessee Walking Horse. But those people from Somalia came in and they was spitting on in women's faces, little boy kids, because they don't respect women. And these little 60-year-old teachers didn't know what to do. They're little southern, little small town teachers in an elementary school having this 9-year-old boy spit in their face. They're like, what the hell? Because the southern, an American dad would snatch their kid up and be like, what the heck are you doing? You don't spit in Miss SunnyDays' face. You know what I mean? Right. So, their religion, they don't respect women. And look at all these stupid Karens out here that are shouting for like all this stuff. Oh, accept it, bring it in, love it. How do you think they're going to feel when they'll be like, we're going to take your driver's license away, girl. You can get behind your husband. You're going to have to walk 6 feet behind him. You like the 6 feet thing during COVID? Good. That's how you're going to live your life. Get on your knees, listen to your husband. And if he doesn't like you, he can go get a new wife. Shut your mouth.
Is Gran Torino himself doing pretty good? Is he?
Yeah, I think he stays pretty busy. He's working a lot and stuff. He doesn't post. He reposts a lot, but if he'll answer me if I message him, sometimes it can take a couple days or whatever. But he seems to be doing pretty well. He changed his profile picture on X. He's wearing looks like one of them Burger King crown hats, so he seems to be having fun.
That's funny.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so I'm going to try and get him on at some point. It's just
that would be awesome.
Our times are so different, That's the problem. It's like my show, it's midnight for that guy, and so 1 a.m. That's what Daddy Dragon, when I brought him on to talk about what's going on in the UK, and they have to stay up usually to do it because it's so late over there.
Right.
And I want chat to be able to be involved because I know a lot of people. They were talking about GT in here the other day. I think it was Susie had said she'd heard that he got married and had a child. I hadn't asked him that, but some people have brought him up a lot. I think because Ireland has been in the news and with Connor going to the White House and stuff.
I have that clip I play every once in a while of Scout, but it has GT in the background or whatever.
I saw you play it the other day. Yeah, it's, with the Choctaw doing the disco ball.
Yeah.
Our AM morning shows.
Right. It just seems to prompt nostalgia from a lot of people when they hear it, or they'll hear GT's voice. Someone said, "I heard GT's voice and I came running to see if he was on."
Yeah. Well, we had a really good. That's a great thing about this place is it's always morphed. And people can kind of come and go, and we wish them well. And and it's, we want people to just get the message out. And so you had your Inet coders back in the day. I loved Inet because it was like he was the rebel rouser. He could jump in and just make you feel like, oh, yeah, let's fight for your country. That was Inet to me. And then, GT was always funny, and, he was singing.
Yeah, he had a good voice.
I still remember the day, I've talked about this often, where we went to Zoom and several of us turned our cameras on. That was I remember that day. And it was Yoda that set that trend where I came out with my first name because Yoda had done it. But yeah. Anyway, there you go. Trip down memory lane. Sunny days.
So
What?
Oh.
What?
They like that. They like the nostalgia.
Oh yeah, I can tell you about it. Rottweiler was in. What was that? What was that called? It's not Mighty Mouse. What's that cartoon with that dog, blind dog? Oh, I cannot remember.
Mighty Dog. Was it Mighty Dog?
Is it Mighty Dog? See, I didn't really watch a lot of cartoons. I loved my National Geographic Discovery stuff when I was a kid. I just knew I was going to grow up to be a marine biologist.
Was it Hong Kong Phooey?
That's Rottweiler. You posted. What was it? There you go.
Underdog?
Yep, Underdog. That seems to be the collective answer. Underdog.
All right, so there's the story. It's kind
about
of
a man named Jed, poor mountaineer, but he kept his penny fed.
And they hit oil.
That's right.
How does that go? They hit oil.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's the next line?
I'd have to sing it. See, I can't do it.
Okay, you got to sing it. I'm sorry I interrupted.
One day he was shooting at some crude, up to the ground came a bubbling root, something like that.
Oil, they said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, it's been a long time, girl.
Oh, how did that go?
Mm.
All right. Okay, I gotta look it up, SoCo.
I was going to too. I was like, I care.
What?
Green Acres is the place to be. Living is a life for me. No, well, it's the one where it's not Green Acres. What's the other one?
Hillbilly song.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Was it the Ballad of Jed Clampett? Okay, wait a second.
Beverly.
It's a commercial right now. I gotta. Oh, come on, commercial. I know I'm not sharing either. Let's see.
I'm gonna beat her at. Look at this.
Okay, yep. Okay, I got it.
I beat you.
You got it. You got it.
Let me cut up all you bits.
And then one day he was to him a story about a man named Jed, a poor mountaineer, barely kept his family fed. And then one day he was shooting at some food, and up through the ground come a bubbling crude oil, that is black gold, Texas tea. Well, the first thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. The kinfolk said, Jed, move away from there. Said, California is the place you ought to be. So they loaded up the truck and they moved to Beverly Hills, that is swimming pools, movies. A Beverly Hillbilly.
I felt like I was so lucky, time I remember sitting on my grandmother's floor watching that show.
Oh.
It's such a good time, though, right? I swear I feel like we were so lucky because now we have the Kardashians and TMZ.
Right. Yeah, sometimes we'll do that, reminisce a little bit with Chris and Toots on the Your Voice, Your Call. We've done that a few times, and it's been kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, I've gone back and watched some old movies and stuff because we were blessed to have. I don't know, even our movies. I feel like we're better. Ellie Mae. That's right, Alan.
Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living is the life for me. Just give me that countryside.
New York is where I'd rather stay. I get allergic smelling hay. I just adore a penthouse view. Darling, I love you, but give me Park Avenue.
The chores.
The stores.
Fresh air.
Times Square.
You are my wife.
Goodbye, city life.
Green acres, we are there.
Oh, it makes you.
Oh, funny.
What makes you want to go back and watch? Okay, I'll do one more. This is another one. And we'll see if y'all. I know, but a lot of this audience will remember this show. They have to. Like again, it was a staple. That's why it always bothers me when people try and make it out like, oh, we're the racist culture, whatever. All my shows, a lot of popular shows had black people in the show. They were all black people in the shows I grew up watching. I'm like, what am I talking about? Remember this? But yeah, I love that show too. 227, all of them.
People are going to get upset about this one a little bit, only because it's an earwig.
You know what? We know where to find you. We're going to hunt you down. I can't believe you're going to share something. We might upset some folk.
Gloom, despair, and agony on me. Oh, deep dark depression, excessive misery. If it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. Gloom, despair, and agony on me.
My wife was so unhappy she started to pack.
But I figured I could get us back on the right track.
So I give her a weekly allowance, but you fellas know how that is. So she spent it before I had a chance to borrow it back.
Agony on me. Deep dark depression, excessive misery. If it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. Gloom, despair, and agony on me.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Uh-huh. That's what I'm telling you. I just remember, like I was telling you about it earlier when we were talking. I was telling Sunny, like it's just amazing how propaganda works and what people use to divide us. Like 10 years ago, nobody gave a damn what your political affiliation was. Nobody looked at somebody and said, I wonder if they're a Democrat or Republican. Nobody was breaking up their families because of who somebody was voting for. But they have managed to divide us and these party lines, which I just feel is so detrimental to people's mental health, to feel like you can't love somebody because you have disagreements on policies and stuff. But they've done it. I mean, look how much people fight now and show you, on Instagram or X or whatever of these people getting into it because they don't agree politically. And it's not good. You shouldn't be losing members of your family because y'all can't agree on somebody you want to elect into office. Nobody's more important than the people that you love.
Yeah, Tiana, look, it was not polite to even ask who you voted for or what your party line was.
Yeah, right? That's Tiana smart. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just crazy to me that people don't even think about that anymore. Just like that, if the people don't even look at that as propaganda and I don't care what side of the aisle that you sit on, it's been done to both sides. It's like you'll watch them fan the flames for the Conservative Party. Now the media constantly goes out. Remember how they talk about how dangerous Republicans were, and oh, you need to fear the straight white man, and all white people this, and all the racist stuff going on, mainstream television and the news. And you're trying to make white people racist because they're going to get sick of hearing it. They're going to be like, what are you talking about? Like, as they watch Memphis getting the gang murders and California gang murders, or 54% of the violent crimes are done by black people. And you don't want to say that. You don't want to come off as mean or hateful. But when you're constantly told you're a dangerous race and you're like, wait a minute now, but that's intentional. It's intentional to try and make us even more and more divided. It's like, look what's going on with that kid that got stabbed at that track meet. It's like the black kid went under the wrong tent. The dude told him to get up and leave. He wasn't even supposed to be there. Apparently he skipped school. And all these people are fighting about who was in the right or who was in the wrong. And I'm just like, well, wait, why don't we wait for the facts to come out? Because people are like, I don't know if he put his hands on him, but putting his hands on him, this or that. No, that dude shouldn't have had a knife at a school event. Are you crazy? That should not have happened. But everybody is now, I don't know, just talking about the story, and it's all these conspiracy theories and all these people talking out their butts, and it's like the same thing with Kyle Rittenhouse. Remember that? Oh, he was murdering black people, and it's like, wait, then the tapes came out that they were trying to whack him over the head with a skateboard. They were trying to take his gun away from him. So it's like, they said that incident was filmed too. So let's see what happens. Let's look for the facts. Should be easily seen if it was filmed, right? Ronnie? No? You don't agree?
I'm reading chat. I liked the Wild Wild West. That was another good one.
You weren't paying attention to anything I was saying? I got you.
I heard what you were saying.
Sonny,
Oh my gosh, SoCo.
Whatever. You just played us a devil story, and you're going to go, oh.
I know it. That's what I get for not looking at the videos before I play them. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
All right, here's a nice story. Here's a nice story. Something amazing happened in Nebraska. A young man showed up to an auction hoping to buy back his family's 80-acre farm that they'd lost during hard times. With over 200 local farmers in attendance, he didn't stand much of a chance, so he thought. What happened next? Nobody bid, not one person. They all stayed silent, letting him buy back the land without competition. No drama, no applause, just quiet, powerful solidarity. It wasn't about profit. It was about doing the right thing, faith in humanity restored.
Where this happened?
It said it happened in Nebraska.
Nebraska. The young man showed up to
an sorry.
To buy back his family's 80-acre farm. I wonder how much he had to pay for it. Because that's another thing most people don't realize about auctions. The bank reclaims it and then takes it over, and then there's a base price that they have to pay, and if it doesn't draw that, they just rescind the auction. So I wonder. I have to look that story up. This happened in rural Minnesota in the 70s. They called them penny auctions, when a farm was auctioned off the local bid between 1 cent to $1. But they don't do that anymore. So the bank can set like what they want their money back,
Oh, back when a man's word and a handshake meant something.
Mm-hmm. But that's how you mess with the system. That's how you buck the system. I think people should do that more often. You walk up, you should go to an auction. You all say, oh, hey, look, if it was in your family, or you got a struggling young couple trying to build a homestead for themselves, and they're willing to push through the values of like farm life and growing, stuff for their community. Yeah. Instead of let the government tell you should pay $200,000 for it, your community should do that. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. The heartland of America is full of wonderful people. This is a great example. God bless them all.
Sonny's going to sign up for it tomorrow. Sell me her house for 20 cents. You know, just got that big old heart over there.
Oh. No, I was told I can't give it away.
Nope, you was told you can't give it away. You right about that. Don't know where that came from. Don't know who possibly told you that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. How about
What is
how about this?
Why is free thought ridiculed, challenged, and threatened when a person is opposed to the mainstream narrative? Yeah, well, that's the truth right there. That's what they're doing after these podcasts now, Ronnie, for sure. But did you see that thing with Douglas Murray and Dave Smith on Joe Rogan that was trending all over Twitter?
Who was it?
Douglas Murray went on Joe Rogan along with Dave Smith to have a debate about the Israel-Gaza stuff, right? And like it was trending all over Twitter for days. And it was weirdly enough, Douglas Murray came in talking about experts. And Dave, you're not an expert. Why are you talking about this? You're not an expert. And Dave says, I never claimed to be an expert. Does that mean we can't talk about stuff if we're not experts? He said, you're sounding more and more like the left. He's like, look where the experts got us during COVID. Look what the 51 people that signed off saying that the Hunter Biden stuff was a fake. Yeah, the experts, are full of crap. And so it's just, I was going off of what Roddy was saying. So, it's weird how some factions of the conservative party that's been all about free speech, there's now it's weird. It's like now they're arguing if people don't agree with them, they're arguing for them to be silenced, or they're arguing for them not to be able, shouldn't have a voice in certain topics. It's just weird. Is my sound muffled, Sonny?
It is a little low, I guess.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why have my headphones on? Is that better, guys?
What a good bird. Why is SoCo sounding like Charlie Brown's teacher? Like she got a pillow for her mic.
I don't know. Does that better? I missed my headphones. Are they done? Oh, okay. I don't know. I've got headphones that have a built-in mic. Sorry, guys. But yeah, that's confusing me right now, where like these free speech, absolutists are now coming out and talking like they feel like certain people should be silenced because they don't agree with them. It's weird. Somebody was posting, I think you were on air, somebody was on air saying like these people are kind of exposing themselves where they're not really, they're going back on everything they preached about for years when they were being silenced and they were being taken off platforms. And now it's like, because they've got even people in their own party that don't agree with them or align with them on certain, subject matters, they're like calling for them to be silenced or no one to listen to them. It's weird. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that.
I don't think it was like that the whole time, so I don't know if maybe...
No, I'd moved my headphone back when I was playing that video because my headphones, weirdly enough, they only play through Zoom. It doesn't play. Yeah, so that's probably what happened.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't think it sounded like that the whole time or anything.
Yeah, that was weird. But thanks for letting me know, though, for sure. I'll fix that stuff right away. But yeah, I'm watching it too, and I think people out in chat have been noticing it. Well, that's good. Roddy said, I may disagree vehemently with what you say, but I will fight to the death if you're right to say it. Yeah. And it's hard, right? It's hard to stay consistent because, but you have to. The one thing that's amazing about America is that we do have a constitution that gives us the right to have an opinion. And like what's going on in UK, what's going on in like Ireland and these other countries, Germany. Look at Germany. The fact that they are ashamed of what happened in the World War II with Hitler and stuff, what Hitler was doing to the Jews and all this other, all that crap that went down. It's like they don't see the irony of what they're doing right now to their citizens, throwing them in jail for a Facebook post. They can't see the fascism in that.
Right. I don't
Redneck
know.
broke
It's
out
just
her
so
name.
crazy.
What were you going to play? Were you going to play something else?
I just was going to, no, there was just a question. It was just to spark conversation, but we didn't need
go
to
for
spark.
it.
No, we don't need to spark conversation. We have it. We only got 5 minutes too before Dan was up.
Okay.
Well, it just was, the question was, is what is the movie that changed your life? Was there a movie that changed your life?
Changed my life?
Yeah. What is the movie that changed your life?
Think of that.
I know a movie I really liked. It was that one, I can't even think of what it's called right now. I don't know that it changed my life. Chat, did you ever have a movie that changed your life? And it's kind of hard to talk about these days too, because a lot of people don't like to talk about Hollywood or movies or I don't know what. Did you ever see the movie Dave? Raging Smirk says Dave. I don't know what movie that is. I'm gonna sneeze. I'm gonna mute.
I will tell you a movie I've just watched. I will go back and watch really good movies that I've seen before, I've not seen in a while. And so maybe I'll start talking about those too, because I swear I think we had some of the best cinema in our generation. But I watched The Help the other day.
Yes, that's
it was such a good movie.
Thinking about that was the one I was thinking about. SoCo, that what affected me. I think it made me think anyway.
Well, but see, that's
the blonde girl in the mansion.
Yeah,
it was from Sugar Ditch.
Yeah,
and she was so sweet.
Well, that's like a movie that was done tastefully, and it's not pushing in your face like it's all these mean old white people, because it had white people in there that were sympathetic. I mean, it was a white girl that wrote their stories, you know what I mean, to write the book. But it did tell the movie was from the point of view of the black women that were maids to these, white women, of course, Karens that were like, really kind of racist, like especially that one woman that wanted to build them all separate bathrooms in the houses. But like to me, it was really well done. Like it wasn't radical, and I don't know. No, it was a good movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any other movies that really stick out. I'm sure I've seen movies that have like affected me or made me think.
Well, I loved all kinds of movies. I've watched all kinds. I just watched a couple more of it. Have you seen the movie The Beekeeper? That was a pretty good movie.
Oh, no, I haven't. That's rather new, isn't it? The Beekeeper?
I think it came out like last year or something. But you got a live Jason Statham. I just pulled up this Wikipedia about Dave. I'll just pull it up. These sunny days. sunny days is not giving her house away.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
Oh, I'm not Dave, 1993. That's right up my alley. Hold on a minute. We're going to watch the trailer. You ready?
Okay.
Let's go. Let's watch the trailer, chat. I don't know what this movie's about. Let's see what it is. Dave, 1993. Oh, I might be watching this after we get off.
Hail to the chief. He's the one we all say hail to.
Dave Kovic was an ordinary guy.
Mr. Kovic, your government needs your help.
Who just happened to look like the president.
You're a very handsome man.
Oh, I've seen it.
President. Just get rid of the grin. You look like a schmuck.
Dave, something has happened to the president.
What about the vice president? The vice president is mentally unbalanced.
Is this legal? Oh, yeah. Probably.
We think so.
Yes.
Suddenly, Dave has a great job.
I can't tell you the whole story. It's kind of a national emergency kind of thing, but you got to help me cut the budget a little. You got to cut the budget.
He has a great house.
Do I need to dial 9?
Who does these books? I mean, if I ran my business this way, I'd be out of business.
And he has a great wife.
Why can't you die from a stroke like everybody else?
She hates me. Yes.
And the amazing thing is, everyone loves him.
God bless you. God bless America.
President Mitchell lately, huh? Has this guy been having too many Happy Meals for lunch or what?
Kevin Kline.
Yeah, that's another. But yeah, I've seen that. I've watched that movie. This is a trigger the memory of seeing it. But yeah, good movie.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
Yeah, where like he had it was like playing a double. Looked just like it's just kind of funny. I see the point now bringing it up. After all the stuff about Biden, the different Bidens that was running around that wasn't the original Biden. Remember the one that rolled out that was a giant? He was like so many inches taller than the real Biden. I swear, Joe Biden became Shaquille O'Neal overnight. Nobody pay attention.
Oh, there was yeah, there were movies when I think back now. Somebody put Terms of Endearment and reminded me of can't think of the movie though. I can't think of the movie. Shoot.
Who was in it?
Timothy Hutton. Was Carol Burnett in it or something? Timothy Hutton was an old movie. Anyway, we're at the top of the hour and Dano is up. Thanks for coming on, SoCo.
Hey, ladies, I was just going to make some more popcorn if you wanted to play some more flicks, It'd be one of those nights.
Yeah. Well, we can find them.
Yes, we've been talking about different, sitcoms and things that back in the days.
Cool. No news stuff? No geopolitical maneuvering to,
Yeah, we did some news stuff, but it's like blah.
Blah.
Sonny wanted to stay away from it. Would keep stuff, try to keep stuff lighthearted, and then she showed the devil story. And I was like, what the?
So funny.
Yeah, we had a combo park him. It's like Easter. We keep it light and hearty. I'm not going to talk about child trafficking and stuff. And then she shows the cop with the devil story, child sacrificing in the fire. And I was like, what the heck? I could talk about this, but I thought we'd stay away from the gosh.
Oh my gosh.
It's all around us.
I should have previewed it, apparently.
That's what she said. She's like, I didn't watch it beforehand, so it's all good. It's all good.
My goodness.
Are you ladies a little burnt out of the news stuff too, or what's going on in your worlds?
I am, yeah.
I mean, I do what I typically do, which is, watch it and then try to get out, free my brain from it. I don't live in it. I think it's healthy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Just a daily peep show, keep it moderation.
Right. You can turn politics into a peep show.
Yeah. You don't want to look too long.
Well, you turn into salt.
Yeah, you become what you resist, right? Something like that.
Something like that, for sure.
I ain't got nothing, ladies. I'm out of ammo tonight.
Happy Easter.
You ain't got nothing prepared for your show?